because the marriage was has become like a question and answer marriage. Do you have any tea? Don't you have hands to prepare it? Why have you come back late? Did I take your blanket? It's question and answer marriage.
Not any other place, but every Sunday, 3 p.m., right here at UBC, with the one and only Cyrus Rod, not any other.
Unlocking marital bliss.
Let me drink one for the road. Let me drink one for the road. Oh, Sajate Undimba.
You only need the light when it's burning low. Only miss the sun when it starts to snow. Only know you love her when you let her go. Whoa, whoa.
No, I've never been someone shy until I seen your eyes. Still I had to try, yeah. Girl, every little thing I do it for you. In every little song I sing it for you.
Food is more than just a great meal. It's even better when it's prepared with art. The Kitchen. Brought to you by...
Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Introducing Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School, located in Chebando, Chisalo-Salo, along Bukoto Roundabout, 2 kilometers from Kalere at the Northern Bypass, on your way to Chisasi. This is a world-class standard school with the most qualified teachers that will turn your child into a world changer. We have a fully stocked library, a balanced diet for the children, a calm environment suitable for learning, and pocket-friendly school fees. Registration for P1 to P6 is ongoing, and second term is starting on 6th April 2021. Call us on 0774 950 277 or 0705 861 262 for more information. Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School. The Lord is my shepherd.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Sponsored by
Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School. The Lord is my shepherd.
A wonderful morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Good Morning Uganda Extra. I'm sitting in for Jagenda Semakula as we continue to have conversations of the morning. And today is no different. We get to dissect things and matters that are around us. You do know them. You probably have interacted with the kind of conversation we're going to be having today, but you've really never understood how it came into existence and what it's all about and why it's actually important to the nation of Uganda. My name is Priscilla Naloga, delighted to be here with you on Good Morning Uganda Extra. Now, you have heard of the National Library of Uganda. Yes, you may be thinking it's the one that is opposite Buganda Road Primary School, and you are correct, but have you ever wondered where it comes from or when it was actually established? Have you ever wondered what are the functions of the National Library of Uganda? Have you ever wondered how does it benefit and contribute to the development of Uganda? Well, you will be surprised that in one way or another, it does actually bring a small contribution to the nation of Uganda. first established in 1964 as the Public Libraries Board. It was then re-established in 2003 under the Act of Parliament, and it was renamed the National Library of Uganda. And to have deeper conversation about the National Library of Uganda and what they are all about this morning is Katungisa Adonai, who is the director of the National Library of Uganda. Good morning to you, Mr. Katungisa.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm very good. I will say I like your attire. It's a very interesting African print. I've not seen that in Uganda. Which country did you get it from?
Thank you. I got this from Ghana and Afria.
Okay.
Afria is the African Library and Information Associations, which is an umbrella for libraries and librarians in Africa.
Okay.
And the National Library of Uganda happens to be a partner in many of things as far as moving forward library is concerned. Yeah.
All right. So let's start right there. What is the National Library of Uganda? Personally, I see it and I know that there's reading spaces in there, but I believe there are more functions and more services that are offered by the National Library of Uganda. What is the National Library of Uganda and what are the functions?
National Library of Uganda, which we usually abbreviate as NALU, NLU, is a library like any other library, because I know that Ugandans are aware about libraries. There are different types of libraries, and the types are derived from the services that they provide. Now, the National Library of Uganda is a government of Uganda, semi-autonomous body that was established, like you have already said, legally by an act of parliament of 2003, repealing the Public Libraries Board. I want to go into that later, maybe if you ask. And it was established with 22 functions and with a mandate, which is twofold. One, to correct, preserve, and disseminate Uganda's documented heritage. I'm saying documented heritage because we know that there are different types of heritage, one of them being the physical, like the tourist sites, that is a heritage. But the National Library of Uganda is mandated for that heritage that is in document form, which can be a book, which can be a periodical, a journal, a magazine, and the like. And two, to also oversee the development of libraries in the country, particularly those libraries that serve the general public, where everybody is free to access those libraries. Then that's why we have the National Library and then the public library, what we call the public libraries that are located in local governments across the country. And then we also have the other part, which is called the community library. A public library and a community library, I can say the difference is a similarity. Why? Because they serve the general public.
Yes.
The only difference being that for a public library, this is facilitated, it draws its funding from the central government.
As you continue that conversation, just taking the proximity that we're having to UBC here, which is the nearest community library, which is the nearest public library from where we are?
Yeah, the nearest public library is KCCA, which was formerly located at the Mayor's Gardens, where we know the KCCA is. But because of that limitation in accessibility, that library was moved to Rubaga.
Okay.
That's where it is located. And for the community library, there are many, because these are established by individuals, by organizations, which are non-state. And the nearest, I think, Kawempe Youth Center is one of them.
Okay.
There is Mama Community Library, which is in Katwe. Actually, that's where we are having
Katwe
an
would be
activity
nearer than
yesterday.
Kawempe, that's
Yes.
true.
Yeah, those are the
Right.
two which are near.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're still continuing with the functions that are performed under the National Library?
Yes. So the other function, apart from the documented heritage, is that overseeing through support, through advocacy of these public and community libraries. And the 22 functions, among them if I could mention a few, like I'm saying, one is that documented heritage, and two is promotion of reading in the country. Three is standardization of this documented heritage we are talking about. Standardization, what do I mean? As the National Library of Uganda, we always come up with manuals and guidance to these public libraries, so that when they are establishing, when they are offering their services, they offer them in a standard way.
Okay.
There is also another function of, there is what we call international standard numbers. This is a number that is assigned to any documented heritage to uniquely identify.
Is it the one that is abbreviated as ISBN?
ISBN for the book.
It stands for International
Standard Book Number. Then if it is music, it is International Standard Music Number.
Okay.
Then if it is a serial publication like a journal, because that one comes out
continuously,
continuously, is called ISSN.
Okay.
So it is the National Library of Uganda that is responsible for that assignment. And then monitoring and inspection of these community public libraries. Then we also have, like I said, providing that supportive guidance role. So we have supported these community public libraries in a number of ways, by training their staff, by lobbying for projects and programs to be implemented in those communities, by supporting them with reading materials. We have a number of partners whom we partner with to always get these reading materials to the governments. And then also, above all, there is also policy formulation in regard to libraries.
Okay.
I have to admit that we have moved not very fast in this regard, but what is currently on is that we have these acts that establish these libraries, the local government, the National Library Act, but we have been lacking a policy, a legal framework that can help us as we try to engage with these partners. So right now, we are almost at the final stages of coming up with a regulatory impact assessment, which is going to inform whether whether we need
the policy,
that policy
can be, or
we can have some other intervention as guided by
and if
government.
it's permissible, what are some of the what are some of those points within that assessment report that could guide into the development of the policy you want to advocate for?
Some of the issues that we have already come up as we try to come up with that regulatory impact assessment is the mandates, scattered mandates. The other function of the National Library is the legal depots. You know, legal depots is also a law that was put in place to help the National Library of Uganda in documenting that heritage, so that every publisher, every producer of any document is legally supposed to deposit it with a legal deposit center.
Okay.
Now in Uganda we have three. The National Library of Uganda, because everybody is welcome. We have the Makerere University main library, and then we also have UMI, Uganda Management Institute. These are the three legal deposit centers where the producers can deposit.
Okay.
Now,
so they deposit at a fee, or do you receive them to promote?
Maybe the fee may be from the point of view of production, because you deposit at your own cost. What do we mean? You are supposed to, for example, if it is a book, we need 3 copies. And the reason for this is, one, of course, to inform the general public about that existence, since we are open to the public.
Okay.
And then two, you know, some of these publications, after some time, they become out of print. And therefore, if I'm the author, even when I'm there or when I'm not there, at one time when you want to have a reproduction,
they can do a reproduction.
Yes, it may be very difficult. So if we have it in place well kept, then it becomes easier for the present and the future generation.
Okay, and this feeds into the policy that you're trying to advocate
Yes, no, that's
for.
one of the things.
That's one of the things.
The other
Something
thing,
else in the assessment report?
Yes. The other thing, much as we have tried to guide, to inspect these public and community libraries in the local governments, we have found it a challenge.
In what way?
In as far as trying to say, if we go and guide, and maybe someone has not, if I'm establishing a library, I'm saying it is supposed to be this as a minimum. if I'm saying in every local government there should be a local government, the pace at which they are established has been very low. And we realize that one of the reasons to that is because there is no legal, there is no policy framework within which we can operate. So that if I say, Mbarara,
if you don't do
establish
this, terms
a
and conditions do apply according
what
to
are the
policy.
conditions?
Okay.
So that if those conditions were there, if we had within that policy, you have the stakeholder roles and responsibilities, then it becomes much easier in as far as the
administration
yes, exactly.
of National Library
Yes,
terms and conditions.
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting to note. Now we have looked at the functions of the library, one of them being to promote as far as the reading culture is concerned. I want to tackle that a little bit. They say that if you want to hide knowledge, if you want to hide wisdom, if you want to hide understanding from an African, hide it in a book. What is your assessment of our reading culture in Uganda?
Like you are rightly putting it, they used to say the reading culture of Uganda is very poor. But as the advocacy institutions for library, we don't think that is the case. Maybe we can say the reading culture is very low rather than saying it's very poor, because people read. Like now, because there is social media, people are always, even when you're in a meeting, people are just reading. That is the reading.
Yes.
But what is important is what are they reading and for what are they reading.
And how does the National Library actually promote that?
That's what is very important. Now, as the National Library of Uganda, we realize that promoting the reading culture can not be a one-man show.
It's a collective effort?
Because in the book industry, in librarianship, we have a number of stakeholders, each one of them playing a role. For example, let me, before I mention them, if I'm the National Library of Uganda and I'm saying I want to promote reading to the children, I'm going to do this promotion through a medium. Which medium? Maybe libraries. So now libraries become stakeholders in promoting reading culture. Two, how are you going to promote it? You must be having the materials. Which material you are calling these documents? The books. Now when you say the books, libraries don't produce books. Okay. The books are produced by authors, by editors, by publishers. So those also become important stakeholders. And therefore, if we are to reach where we are looking at in terms of promoting a reading culture, then all these stakeholders in the book sector, in the publishing industry, have to be brought on board, have to work hand in hand as a system, so that way we shall be able to move it. Okay. Yes.
All right. Yeah. One of the stakeholders you have mentioned is the authors or the producers of this material that is then harbored in the National Library. Now, when you talk about standardization in Uganda, that is something that we're still running away from. Currently, URA is struggling to standardize a few things here to ensure that they get the taxes from the people directly. And if URA is having a hard time, how much more is the National Library of Uganda having a hard time in reference to standardization? I will tell you, Ugandans have become writers. Their writing abilities have actually been brought on by the different leadership programs, the writing programs that they have been able to attend, especially in the arts industry. Now, they have their work published, but who is monitoring it? Who is supposed to standardize it? Who is supposed to set the gauge upon which they put their work out for public consumption? I believe National Library of Uganda would have an input in that. How, in your assessment, how has that been for the library?
Standardization, how these authors have been helped, like I have said. Because like you are saying, URA is struggling simply because if I'm a taxpayer, I may be looking at different reasons why URA is there. So the same applies to us who are in the book industry, who are in library and information science. Is this standardization, for example, we talked about the ISBN. Now, what is this ISBN? That's the beginning point. Before you go to the publisher, because by the time you publish a book, you would want to have wider market for it, and that will be determined by how good it is. Okay. Now, what the ISBN does, like I said, it is a unique number that identifies your publication worldwide. Even when we are trying to do a selection, you just enter into a system, be it in the search engine, you enter an ISBN of a book, the detail just come in. So that is one way. And the other way is that when you give that number, then as an author, as a publisher, as a producer of that item, then your market scope is broadened, because you can now compete. If I'm in America and I want to buy a Ugandan book and maybe I have forgotten the title, but someone has given me an ISBN, I just simply enter it. So you tap into the other market. That is what is most important. And so if the market of Ugandan writers and publishers is good, if I could say, then that would mean that as libraries would have a lot in stock, because authors are eager to produce because they know there is market for their publications. Right. Because when you have a property and you want to get an earning and you don't get it automatically, you'll not be motivated to produce another one.
So then it begs the question, what is the standardization procedure that a book author, a writer, has to go through to be able to have their book on the market eventually?
Now, when you are writing a book, you start from a manuscript. And you put down your ideas. I know you may be a literature.
Yes.
So you put down your ideas. But you realize that, yes, you have put down the ideas, but they need to be, like you say, standardized. That's why after you have put them down, then you need these people whom we call the editors.
Editors, yes.
The editors, it could be a translator. Now, the editors just try to look at what you have put down, whether it is in a format that is going to attract someone to buy it. And when we are editing, of course, we always have, like, for example, language, because our language at times is tenses, how have you put
grammar.
it? Grammar. Yeah. You are writing about a discipline or a topic, whether a textbook, whether a general reading. Now you need content specialists. If, for example, I'm writing, let's say, a mathematics book for secondary school. Yes, I can write, but I need some input from some other expert, because it is very difficult for you to edit the work that you have done. What is a mistake for you? You are just reading.
You're seeing good.
You see, you are reading. Well. Like if I'm mentioning your name,
and I've read so many books actually that I've picked up from. You support fellow Ugandans. You buy a book and then just the grammar and the composition and the diction are off, and you're wondering how they're able to have printed 1,000 copies of this.
Exactly.
Yes, simply because they skipped standardization procedures such as editing.
Like you wanted to maximize the profits, knowing that actually you are minimizing. Because if it is not standard automatically,
I will not finish the book.
Yes, you not finish the book.
Which is true. I've not finished.
Even when it comes out, people will not buy. So that is one way. And then the other way, of course, at times when someone is buying a book, you say, who publishes? What is publishing? Because as an author, you may not have the resources and the time to market your book countrywide or internationally. So that's why the publishers always come in. Except that at times also say, no, the publishers are cheating us, but they don't look into the other production bit, the costs. There is a way publisher break down the costs, so that by the time you reach at your royalties, you may look at it. If you are saying it at 20, they are giving you a percentage, you look at it small. So some people tend to go individual publishing, but of course with its limitations. So that's the reason. So once it is edited, if it is an article, it is reviewed, then that's where now, like as publishers also have their in-house styles.
Yes.
So that if you say, as far as I'm concerned, I know that Fontaine Publishers or Adonia Publishing Company, I'm assuming I have one, is the best if you want to sell. So if you bring your book, they may also have their own editors, to edit it content-wise, to edit it format-wise, which font have you used. Because as Fontaine Publishers, this is our format, this is our style, this is our standard. So by the time they publish it, it must qualify. If it doesn't qualify, that's why you find you take it and it's not there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you have also hinted on individual publication, and
Publisher.
then also you have the
we call it self-publishing.
Self-publishing.
I may just produce a book.
Go to Nasarod.
Yeah, I go to you. You help me and edit. I look for a printer. Then I start moving with it.
Yeah, with it,
you
telling
see?
people about it. It's 20,000 shillings.
Because
so let's talk about that, and I want you to address it in the angle of having Ugandans appreciate the fact that there is publication houses that are meant to do the standardization job for them to actually get more royalties, as they call them, out of the material that they want to put out.
Come again?
In comparison to self-publication and house publications, you have companies that do publications, and then most Ugandans prefer to just go to Nasarod and do their printing. So from your assessment and your engagement, especially with books and writing, I would want you to advocate for people to actually use houses of publications to be able to put out their work, not for selfish gain, not that they want to, get all the money to themselves, but to help them understand how important it is that they actually consider using a publishing house than doing it themselves.
Yeah. Now, thank you very much for that question. Now, I tackle it I'll just give an example in two ways. One, like I've said, is the market. Because you look at you as self-publishing. I'm writing a book to inspire Ugandans in as far as maybe agriculture is concerned, not for money purposes. And now you want to self-publish. Now, do you have the resources to be able to distribute that book across the country?
In the right market.
In the right market.
Yes.
Because that is the reason as to why you are writing. And automatically the answer is
because
no.
you may put it in a high-end bookshop, and how many agriculturalists will walk into that bookshop,
and how many people go even into to the bookshop. So you'll find it a very big challenge, and therefore your target will not be met. Two, if you can use at least the day-to-day experience, we all do business in one way or the other. Just assume you have a shop. I have a shop and you have a shop, and we set the price. We say 100. Adonia reduces by 20. At the end of the day, you realize that I'm going to make more sales than you is insisting because you are aiming at a big margin. Okay? What we call, is it profit on sales? So for me, I'm going to sell more. I'm getting less profit. But at the end of the day, I'll have more profits. So the same applies to this publishing industry. That rather than self-publishing, if you use a publisher, because for him, he has the market, whom he supplies nationally, regionally, and internationally.
Internationally, yes.
And two, he has the muscle, the financial muscle, to be able to distribute the different distributing agents, like the bookshop, the book clubs world over. So at the end of the day, what you are looking at as, let me say, for example, 5,000 out of the 20,000. If you multiply by the number of copies, then you find that you realize more. So that's why it is advisable that at least we work as a system because of this network. Just like National Library of Uganda, I'm saying we are supposed to promote a reading culture in the country. We cannot do it as a National Library of Uganda. That's why we do it through the network of public libraries, which are 47 right now, and over 100 community libraries, which are scattered. So we feel if we work with this, then we are in touch with the communities, rather than if we said as a National Library of Uganda, let's go down there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I am having a conversation regards the National Library of Uganda, and Katunjisa Adonai, who is the director of the National Library of Uganda, we're really trying to understand the importance of books in society, but better still, the importance of things like international standardization, book number, to you as a publisher, or to you as a reader, or to you as an author, among other nitty-gritty things that we have touched base with. But there's also World Book Day that is coming up. It's being celebrated tomorrow, the 23rd of April, 2021. And we want to see how these celebrations are going. They're under the National Library of Uganda, and it's been a whole week of celebrating. From Monday, they've been having events and exhibitions building up towards tomorrow. We're going to be looking into the details of that when we return.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Sponsored by Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School. The Lord is my shepherd.
That's their way of stopping HIV. What about you?
...2020 was the year the tourism sector got disconnected. But this year, we reconnect. To leads, growth, to industry experts, to wider markets, to untapped potential. Be part of the first ever virtual Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo and engage with industry experts from around the world. Find out how you can grow your leads, put your tourism business back on the map, and a whole lot more. Sign up for free at www.poate.co.ug/register and reconnect with your world. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo runs from the 27th to the 29th of April 2021 and is proudly brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board.
Experience 100% 4G speeds across Uganda with the Airtel 4G Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with a backup battery and 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Introducing Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School, located in Chebando, Chisalusalu, along Bukoto Roundabout, 2 kilometers from Kalere at the Northern Bypass, on your way to Chisasi. This is a world-class standard school with the most qualified teachers that will turn your child into a world changer. We have a fully stocked library, a balanced diet for the children, a calm environment suitable for learning, and pocket-friendly school fees. Registration for P1 to P6 is ongoing, and second term is starting on 6th April 2021. Call us on 0774 950 277 or 0705 861 262 for more information. Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School. The Lord is my shepherd.
2020 was the year the tourism sector got disconnected. But this year, we reconnect. to leads, growth, to industry experts, to wider markets, to untapped potential. Be part of the first ever virtual Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo and engage with industry experts from around the world. Find out how you can grow your leads, put your tourism business back on the map, and a whole lot more. Sign up for free at www.poate.co.ug/register and reconnect with your world. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo runs from the 27th to the 29th of April 2021 and is proudly brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Sponsored by
Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School. The Lord is my shepherd.
Good morning to you, Uganda. Thank you so much for staying with us. We are still on Good Morning Uganda Extra. My name is Priscilla Naloga and I am sitting in for Jagenda Semakula. This show is of course sponsored by Cleveland Hill Day Mixed and Boarding School that has got your child's educational needs covered for you. Just get onto their website, the social media, and you'll be able to get further details of the classes that are available right now and how you can actually get your child joining this amazing school. Away from that, of course, when you speak of school, we speak about education, and with education comes with books, and then books are found in libraries, and then with libraries you have the overall body that takes care of libraries in Uganda. That is the National Library of Uganda, and I'm delighted to have been having a conversation for the past 30 minutes with Katunjisa Adonai, who is the director of the National Library of Uganda. Now, with Katunjisa, we have talked about the importance of the National Library, the functions of the National Library. We have tackled the fact that it is all about collecting, preservation and dissemination of information, documentation, among other things that are catered for or are custodianed in the National Library of Uganda. However, we also have that which must be protected. It must be the work of authorship. It must be in a tangible medium of expression, and it also must be original. I believe these three things do relate with copyright. Tomorrow is the 23rd day of April 2021, and internationally we celebrate the World Book and Copyright Day. And we've been having those celebrations since the beginning of the week, this week, since Monday, and we are climaxing them tomorrow. Now, Mr. Katunjisa, let's talk about the World Book Day and copyright, and what is it about, why are we celebrating this day, and what should we be looking forward to?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. These publications, these documents that we are talking about, are a property to those who produce them.
Okay.
When you write a book, it becomes your property. And just like any other property, when you get married, yes, not a property in that sense, but like sort of protecting the marriage. How do you protect it? You get a marriage certificate. If you buy land, we have been hearing land grabbing here and there.
An agreement,
you either have an agreement or you have transferred it and you have a land title. So in the same way, much as your book has been standardized,
okay,
in the talk that we are talking about, you need to own that property of yours. And that's what we now call the copyright.
Okay.
And maybe before I forget, now getting an ISBN, having a publisher publishing it doesn't mean that you own the property. So there is Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And we know that it is responsible, it's a government institution that is responsible for the registration of registration, whatever registration. Now, if after all this, after you are published,
after published, my publication has an international standardization book number, I then have to interact with the Uganda
Registration Services Bureau, which registers your property and it gives you a certificate.
Okay.
That is when tomorrow, if you find Adonia photocopying the whole book of yours, then you can go to court because you have the right. You have, and someone say, what shows that it is you? I'm registering it.
Okay.
Now, World Book and Copyright Day. what is it? Like I said, that writers and publishers are major stakeholders in the book industry. Now, in 1997, UNESCO, United Nations Education, Culture and Scientific Organization, looked at how these authors, all those stakeholders could be recognized. So at the end of the day, 23rd of April of every year was designated as a World Book and Copyright Day, with the aim of promoting and acknowledging the role that these books, to be specific, play as far as individual national development and prosperity are concerned. So this day is celebrated every year under a theme. We always have an international theme, and year in, year out, different themes. Now this year's theme was protecting, promoting reading, publishing, and protection of intellectual property.
Okay.
Now, the intellectual property means that property that you produce, that you own as a result of using your intellect, your mind. That's why I'm talking about the book. It could be an innovation. This, you know, that the Chira bus that we are, that is an innovation. So that right is what we call the copyright and intellectual property.
Intellectual property. Okay.
And so it is, and now from that international theme, every nation is supposed to come up with its national theme. That
and
is
the Ugandan national
as we
theme
celebrate.
For
now this year, Uganda's theme to celebrate the World Book and Copyright Day is promoting reading during the COVID pandemic, challenges and way forward.
Okay. I will say there's been a lot of consumption of information courtesy of the pandemic, because now people had time, so they could consume a lot of information during the COVID-19. So promoting reading and
promoting reading during the
COVID-19 pandemic.
And by coming up with this theme, we are looking at, because we all know what has happened, institutions were locked down for a certain period of time, students were at home, but continuing reading. You know how Ministry of Education intervened by having digital content. So libraries were closed. So we feel that these different stakeholders who are involved have gone through many challenges.
Many challenges. What are some of these challenges?
And of course, accessibility.
Okay.
That means when I'm locked, the public is not going to access. Unless what I have in my collection is in a different format, the digital format. Like Ministry of Education put that the educational materials in digital form, but which we realize many libraries, if not all, apart from the academic libraries, do not have that minimum infrastructure for digitizing what they have. Even when they have, we also have the other issue of copyright, because to digitize your book, I must come to you and we agree. And of course, you know that what that agreeing means is some money. Because when I sell, I get money. So if you digitize and people are going to access it, I'm going to lose. And therefore, the only way how I can gain is to agree with you and say, maybe give me this. Or whoever accesses it, let him access it, and then he pays something. So that's what as we celebrate this day, that was our focus. So that if we can get to know the challenge you have gone through, then we can see how we can sit down and try to forge a way forward. So that, because we know many pandemics are going to come, and therefore we shall be ready.
So it's been, and my analogy of COVID-19, for me, I have allowed it to look at it through the lenses of it's been an eye-opener to the different potential possibilities that we can actually tap into. What can you identify as those potential possibilities that you, as a library, mandated to promote reading culture, publication culture, and intellectual property?
I can see, because like you say, now it has become a new normal. They say this one is coming, this version is coming, but it's now a new normal, we have to move on. And the possibility that I'm looking at that can be a solve at all this is like going digital. Going digital, So as stakeholders, we need to come together, of course, with the support of the government to see that at least these libraries, if they can go digital in terms of service delivery, everything is digital. Whether I'm at home, we shall be able to provide that service as the libraries, and that way the reading promotion will continue.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, under that theme, we always organize.
Okay, Mr. Katunchisa, we're going to be taking a live. We do have Sheraton Hotel, and at Sheraton Hotel there is a launch for Jobs and Livelihood Integrated Response Plan for refugees and host communities in Uganda. This is taking place at Sheraton Hotel right now, and as UBC, we're going to be covering it live.
Mila zetu na desturi zetu, jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora, jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you so much. A prayer by Father Kweda. God, we would like to give glory to you and thank you for the gift of this day, Thursday, the 22nd of April, 2021, that you have given to launch the Jobs and Livelihoods Integrated